Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the All Balls Sports Show. Brought to you in part by True Love's Pizza and Grits at 1144 Riverside Drive. A discussion of any and all sports, local, regional, and national. And now, here are your hosts, Dan James, Eddie Bobo, Ty Cobb, and the coach, Vance Ballou.
Thank you, Bill Jones. Welcome into the All the Ball Sports Show for this Tuesday evening, 27th day of February. And this month is going to be gone, guys, like tomorrow is like the last day.
Mm-hmm.
March
done.
Madness will be here.
Well, some of us are already mad.
Not me.
Hey, let me tell you about this guy, Coach Jason Hoth over here. Bless his heart, he has suffered through 2 bouts of 2 different strains of the flu.
Hasn't been fun. Hasn't been fun at all. I'll tell you, the flu type B was much worse than the A, though. I will
Really?
say that. For me, it was. So, but I think I missed 9 days of work in the last 3 weeks. So, I'm all better now, but hadn't been a good month. So.
Now, the folks who know you and know your family know that you have a new baby in the house, but you sent them, like, away.
Yeah, the first time I had to stay in a room upstairs by myself, and which was kind of nice. Kind of room service. Summer brought all my food to me and everything. It was nice in a way. But then
Well, we're going for the playback on this show.
Yeah. The second time, she's like, "I'm just going to my mom's house. We're taking the kids." And I was like,
Yeah.
"It's probably a good idea." So, but
Did you have to fare for yourself?
I did, but that was okay.
Oh, okay.
But nobody else got
Fumigate
sick.
the house.
I'll tell you what, we've Lysoled that house 100 times, I think, but nobody else has gotten sick, thank goodness. And
Good.
I'll tell you what, it's been bad this year. January and February. I mean, we've closed multiple times in school this year already, and even throughout all the closings, you still have a lot of people absent. Teachers and students. So it's been tough this year. So
Well, I had a bout of it a couple of weeks before Christmas myself. So, so I can feel for you.
I can't remember the last time I had the flu until this year. So.
And this is the first time that we've had this gang together
Been a while.
in quite some time because Athletic Director Ballou had to take tickets the other night at the ball game, district game that we lost to Lawrence County.
I was there.
Yep, sure was. So
And then where were you? I was there. I didn't see you.
You might need to get those glasses checked.
Whoa!
Hey, man. Hey, I just got tagged. I think I'm bleeding a little bit right
just
there.
a little bit.
Early on in the show.
He walked into that.
Then the other night, unfortunately, we lost to Oakland and should have won that game. But I don't normally blame or lay blame on officials. But, man, I don't know where these cats are coming from. But to see things that aren't there is an amazing thing.
True. I agree. The last 2 games, we just did not.
And we didn't perform well either.
We didn't play
No.
well, but things did not go our way overall in the game. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll just move on from that. All right, one of the reasons you're here, Jason, is that we have a Boston butt sale going on through Thursday.
Right.
$35. Give us the details.
Yeah, so those of you who don't know, a Boston butt is pork butt, so it's barbecue, and it's about 8 to 10 pounds. And we're selling these essentially to help us raise money for new shoulder pads. We need some new shoulder pads. Equipment in football only lasts so many years, and we're just at one of those points in our program where we need to upgrade some equipment. Some major needs for us. So our players are out fundraising right now. It's like in any high school sport, fundraising it's a part of it, But we're selling these, and of course they're $35 a piece, like you mentioned. And the money goes right back to the players, and then on top of that, you're getting some really, really good meal out of it as well. So I got a company that come in Friday night, and we'll actually park their smokers and stuff right outside Lindsey Nelson Stadium, right in the parking lot there, and they will smoke the barbecue all night long.
There's an order there.
And it'll be ready to go. Yep. It'll be ready to go Saturday morning. So, yep.
Because we did this last year.
We did it last year for the first time. Really successful last year. We sold 350 Boston Butts last year.
Wow.
Our goal this year was 450. We're not there yet. We're actually a long way off right now, but usually that's how high schoolers are. They wait till the last minute before they really get rolling. So we've been pressing them this week, but hopefully we can meet that goal. That way we can equip our players with some new equipment. We bought about 20 new pairs of shoulder pads last year, but looking to buy 30 to 40 new pairs this year. That way, all of our players essentially who will dress that will be in brand new shoulder pads or 1-year-old shoulder pads, which would be really good. So that's the goal. So
And keeping in mind that the new shoulder pads will not smell as bad as the old shoulder pads.
Exactly, exactly. Because I'll tell you what, when we moved the
If you're
equipment,
just sitting at home somewhere and you said, I haven't smelled anything funky in a long time, we can show you where to go.
Just come by. Well, 3 o'clock. Just come by the weight room. There's it's a very distinctive smell when you walk into a football locker room.
Oh, man.
And I guess I've been around it so long, it doesn't really bother me as much. But
Yeah, but you wear it home.
I do wear it home, and I wear it in the truck. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to get in your truck. It smells. I don't smell a thing. You're used to it. But, we're excited about it. Opportunity to get some of these kids some new equipment and everything. That'll be used for several years. So.
Now, they can call Miss Norma or Miss Dorothy at the school, 381-2222.
Right.
And they will take the orders through Thursday.
Right. They
Correct?
have all the information up front. They can call the school and ask to talk to any one of the coaches. We can give them that information as well. Hopefully, these players are walking around neighborhoods, going door to door. But yeah, any way of contacting the school will probably be a good avenue, good route to take. So.
All right, pretty good. How are we looking for next season? What do you have?
Well, spring practice is in April, and I'll be able to answer that question a lot more after that because I told our guys today. We went out and ran some today. The weather was nice. We had to take them outside. So hey, we lost 20 seniors, 15 or 16 of them are starters. We have a lot of open spots. So this spring, it's going to be a lot of competition and practice because I told them, I said, coming out of April, going into May and June, we want to have an idea about who can do what and where we can play different players in different positions. So I'm excited the way they're working. They're working hard right now. Still got to make some strides in the weight room. Got a lot of new faces. We'll be talking about a lot of new players next year. Got a couple kids that transferred in I'm kind of excited about. We'll see how they do in spring ball. So, it's hard to answer that question until you kind of put the pads on, see what some of these kids can do. But I think we're heading in the right direction from where we need to be.
Well, the running back that was at Summit that gave us such a headache at Summit is now going to Spring Hill.
Running back at Page.
Or is it Page?
It's Page.
Yeah,
Yep.
Page.
All right.
He's at Spring Hill.
But still, he was a over 2,000-yard producer.
And the end result for us, it's actually better that he's at Spring Hill because Page is a district game, Spring Hill's not. Even though Spring Hill's the backyard bowl and it's a good rivalry game, but as far as playoff pitcher goes, in our eyes, Page lost a good running back.
But why did he move? What was the?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Does he not have to
Maurice
sit out a year?
might be able to. I don't think so.
Okay.
Maurice might be able to answer that when he gets
That
here.
kid was a sophomore last year.
Yeah.
Going to be a junior, and he was just one of those downhill running backs. We had several shoulder injuries that game. It was the first time Andrew Owens dislocated his shoulder that night, and David Bailey hurt his shoulder that night, which David ended up having surgery after the season was over on one of his shoulders. Will Anderson banged up his shoulder that night, so yeah, he gave his fits last year for sure, but we'll see him again this year. So he'll be wearing that god-awful color up there up north, though. So.
All right, now
A color that you wore at one time.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, now they had talked about the Backyard Bowl. The plans are still for it to be in Spring Hill next year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because there was a lot of talk after the Backyard Bowl that they wanted to move it back to Lindsey Nelson Stadium and swap everything.
Well, that's not necessarily out of the equation from what I've heard. I talked to our Chris Pointer, the athletic director,
Mhm.
and I just told him, I said, I don't care, having them come, but I said, I'm not giving up my home locker room. So if they want to be in our locker room, we're not doing it.
I ain't giving up my press box.
So I mean, if they want to run out on the home side, they're going to have to run out from the away side, the away
Yeah.
locker rooms. I said,
Yeah.
I'm not going to let them come out of the Lions Den. So
But that was some talk that was going on. I mean, I'm sorry, but that field doesn't belong to us to start with.
right.
And Spring Hill does have their own field.
Well, I remember, back when Coach Blue was coaching, and in my senior year in high school, the first time Columbia came to Spring Hill,
Mhm.
I was kind of worried too. I was like, man, this is going to be a lot of people. And they even brought in some of the old softball or baseball bleachers, and those were filled up too, but it still wasn't enough back then. So
Well, back then when you had a band of 225,
that was
the band
that was
took
half
up
the stadium.
really it took up half the
It
home
really
side,
was.
at least.
It really was. So we'll see. I mean, doesn't matter if we play there or if we play at our place again. I'm sure it'll be a good turnout.
Oh, it's
going to
be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a ball last year.
It was.
Fireworks and the
Oh,
whole
it was
bit,
fun.
TV,
It was fun.
headaches. But that's okay. We'll go for that.
Came out on top.
Yeah, we did. Ty Cobb, you went to the Predators the other night. Predators are doing a lot of good juggling right now with some players they're bringing in, and some they don't have room for what they want to bring these players in. But are they jockeying for the possible playoffs?
Yeah, I think they have the right lineup now to win the cup. I think they're really, of course, I might be show favoritism towards the Preds, but I think they got the best team in the NHL. I think they're real solid. They're going to sign Mike Fisher. I don't know that I agree with that, but he's getting a $1 million deal from here out through the playoffs. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a $1 million deal.
Well, he's got to pay for
he don't
Carrie's
have to pay for nothing.
surgery.
But then they acquired a player from Chicago.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Chicago. And he's a good player. He was one I believe that they had originally drafted. Was it not?
Correct. That was
Hartman?
yep. That's right.
Now
Ryan
what
Hart-
did
Ryan
I have
Hartman.
to forget to remember that?
Ryan Hartman.
What's your
He
name?
had a hat trick. He had a hat trick earlier this year for Chicago, I think, against the Preds. So he'll be good. I like him. But they play tonight against the Jets, and then
They're on the road for what, 4 games?
yeah, they don't come back to Bridgestone till March 6th. So
Do you have like a box seat there?
I was in a box seat or a box Sunday, but no, I have some friends that have the box that I get every now and then asked to come. How
So
you
you've got
turn that
friends.
down?
You've got friends in high places.
So, but it was fun. I wasn't expecting them to beat St. Louis 4-0. I mean,
Yeah.
Have you snuck
they
your
dominated.
catfish in?
I did against Vancouver. I might have thrown one on the ice, yeah. But I had to be careful when you're down there on the glass because you're always being seen. So,
Was it a fresh catfish from Cumberland River, or was it?
well, if you look on my Instagram, you'll see how big a catfish I catch. They're pretty big.
Did you see the
20
one
pound.
Did you see the one the guy caught the other day in his front yard in Kentucky with floodwaters?
Oh,
Thing's about that big, man. It's huge.
Wow.
It's like a 25-pounder. Big old catfish.
But
Ugly thing.
it will get exciting. We'll see playoffs will start mid-April.
Yeah.
And I think Nashville's poised to make a strong
But
run
they don't
for the
end
Cup.
till like July, right?
Yeah, that's the thing about hockey. It's long. I mean, September to about July if you go all the way. The Cup finals are like the last week of June or first week of July. I can't remember. And I think there's a good chance that the Preds will be back. But hockey's just about luck, too. The puck's got to go your way. I never played it. I don't want to sit here and talk like a pro, but I've watched it ever
Oh,
since.
come on. These guys can do anything they want to with that
They're
puck.
strong. I think they're some of the toughest athletes out there.
I mean, they're doing with a stick what the guys with baseball do with bat. But they're
on
actually,
ice.
I know, but they're also moving it.
Whole other factor.
It's a different factor.
But you don't see a guy with in baseball with the bat checking somebody up against the fence.
Well, that's true. If you do, you got
occasionally, Mark.
If you do, you got a bench clearing
We
brawl.
used to run over catchers.
Yeah, we used to run over
Take out
catch.
second baseman
Right.
and shortstop.
You can't do that no
Can't
more.
do that no more.
Take away all the fun.
We had pitchers that would throw at heads.
Well, only when you put the head out over the plate.
But it was legal back then.
That's right.
All right, let me ask Coach something. Now, Coach, you've been out doing your athletic director duties for the past couple of weeks. What is this report I hear today that Butch Jones is going to be an Alabama what do they call
Analyst.
an offensive
offensive
analyst for Alabama?
I have not seen any news today. This is
Really?
Yeah,
news to me.
Nick Saban is looking to hire him to be an analyst.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let Jason comment on that. He seems to.
If you can't beat him, you got to join him. You got to do.
Is he going to explain how Tennessee cannot beat Alabama? Is that going to be his role?
I heard about it today, but I didn't look into the details on what position where they were looking at for.
It's
So
gonna
an
be an
offensive
offensive
analyst.
So he's lost 4 offensive analysts this year that went coaching.
Yeah,
somewhere
they've only
else.
got one
Yeah.
of their analysts back.
You look at Butch Jones. I mean, he didn't have the success at Tennessee that we hoped he wanted to, but he was successful up to that point. He was real successful at I think Cincinnati before that, and here and there. So I mean, maybe this will be a good role for him if this is true.
So what does he do? Like at a press conference or whatever, he sneaks up behind Saban when he's having a little bit of problem, saying, "Listen, Coach, here's some phrases for you. Player for life, brick by brick."
Maybe.
Just another brick in the wall.
That's it.
I think
There's
Jason
Maurice.
hit on something there in that kind of saying it a different way, but I think right along the same lines with what he's thinking. A lot of times coaches that are unsuccessful one place can be successful other places. Cincinnati and then UT would be 2 great examples of that. As fans, we get way down on people because they don't win at our schools that we want, but that doesn't mean they're not successful coaches or can't be or haven't been. Sometimes it's the wrong guy at the wrong time.
At the wrong place.
It's the wrong place. Yes, exactly. Maybe that's a better way of saying it, but a lot of time, it's very rare. I mean, you look at it in the SEC. There's 2 schools that are happy with their coaches right now out of 14, Alabama and Georgia. Everybody else is not quite happy. Probably 8 of them are real unhappy. That's the nature of the beast. So the guy that comes in and is successful and people are happy with him, you're looking at less than 20% chance if you look at the SEC. But I bet somewhere in that figure would hold true across the nation.
But it goes back to UT hiring Chris Winkie to coach running backs, and all these UT people have gone nuts. Why you got a quarterback coaching running backs? Don't you think he knows a little football?
That
I
happens.
mean, how many coaches coached the position they played?
That's what I'll say. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
The problem in that situation is people knew who Chris Winkie was. Usually the assistant comes in and is hired, and people don't know their background, especially if they come from a different area of the country. So, it's not uncommon for running backs.
I think
to
in
coach
that
receivers and
specific
vice versa.
situation, though, I think Winkie, having worked down at IMG and that kind of thing, I think he's kind of built a reputation since his playing career ended as a quarterback guru to some degree. So I think maybe that specifically is why, because I kind of wondered the same thing, actually, to be honest. But again, as you said, I mean, I think he's, and surely, I mean, Pruitt wouldn't bring him in if he didn't have some feeling that he could handle that role, and I would imagine it's recruiting as much as anything else.
I would say it's probably just as much recruiting. You know, these colleges, that's the main thing. If you get good players, you're going to be good, and you got to get the good players to come to your school. That's why Alabama's been so successful. They can recruit. You know, because players want to go play for Nick Saban. They want to go work out under Cochran. You know, because he's the best in the strength and conditioning. So you bring a big name guy into your program, and he's coaching a position. Well, that's also a big name guy that's going out to these high schools that's recruiting these players. And the more big name coaches are on staff, if I'm a player, and obviously everybody's goal is to make it to the NFL, who's going to get me to where I want to go? And you know, if this school's got all these connections to the pros, they know how to develop me and get me there. Well, that's where I'm going to go.
Right.
So I mean, you know, I think that's a lot of it
Talking
too.
about recruiting though, is all this basketball mess with the shoe companies and everything, is that going to fall back into football?
Probably. I'll come back. I mean,
I think
Now he's going to qualify that by saying not at Columbia Central.
yeah, it doesn't have it in our school.
but don't you kind of see a parallel between what AAU and what AAU was, non-scholastic basketball, however you want to refer to it, but that summer basketball? Don't you see a parallel between that and what you're seeing with 7-on-7 at those top levels these days?
I think so, because you know, 7-on-7 is a lot bigger now than when it was 10 years ago. You have 7-on-7 teams. They have 7-on-7 camps. They have 7-on-7 leagues that they don't even have to involve your team. It's kind of like AAU basketball. You can go be a part of an elite 7-on-7 team that's based out of Nashville and go to different tournaments.
It's like rugby's going to 7-on-7 in the off season.
Darian right now is in a 7-on-7 team playing wide receiver.
Cool.
And is doing well. So he's, you know, just other ways for the kids to get exposure besides just the actual game, kind of like AAU
It
and
just
basketball.
so happens that a lot of the sponsorship is shoe companies.
Right.
Yep. How do you feel about Darian playing receiver?
Oh, well, he can do anything he wants to on the field. But in the league he's playing, they wanted him. They actually had to try out to make the team, and they wanted him at a skill position and not the quarterback position. So I think Shelbyville's quarterback's up there, and some other quarterbacks over there too. So, you know, I mean, he'll play quarterback for us, but but you know, it's if he can get some other exposure that way and maybe get noticed. Definitely think he has the ability to play at the next level. What position? I don't know. I think he can play quarterback in maybe certain schools because of his play style. I think he can play some receiver, some defensive back just because of his athleticism. So we'll see. See what happens this year, I guess.
True Love's Pizza and Grits is our fine sponsor for All the Ball Sports Show. And we thank Kathy and Glenn Trulove for supplying us with pizza on Tuesday night that the pizza chick is cooking up in about 5 minutes. That's what she's known as, okay? The pizza chick. Which is not.
Does she embrace that title, though? Is she aware of that title?
She's not aware. Now, whoa. There's a difference between knowing that title and embracing that title.
Well, let's start with the first one. Does she know the title?
She knows the title.
Okay.
She knows
She
that my lovely wife, Carolyn.
Can she hear through the walls? That's
Absolutely not. The only thing that she can hear through the walls are our constant laughing. So she said, well, I know it was a good show because y'all were laughing up a storm. I loved it. But anyway, but thank you to Kathy and Glenn for always being there for us and having delicious pizza for us after the show. And since my broadcast career began years ago, I have always been the owner of the Shameless Plug. And I'm going to give this shameless plug to Doris's Flowers and Gifts at 2500 Pillow Drive. We were there yesterday looking for some door prizes for the Dylan Rabior Memorial Golf Tournament, which is coming up on April 28th, which we'll get to here in a few minutes. But they gave us a couple of candles, homemade candles that these folks call Heart's Desire, and this one is an apple jack and peel. And I want you guys to whiff on this for a second because this is some of the best smelling stuff I have ever smelled in my life. So Doris's Flowers and Gifts, it's at www.heartsdesire.com. And there's a telephone number on here, but I want you guys to try this and tell me, and give me your honest opinion. Tell me what you think. This is some of the stuff, and I was like, "Whoa, I got to have that."
Anything
Not
out
bad right there.
I'm telling you, dude, that's good.
Man.
Yeah. Now, don't put it under your arm or anything.
That's good stuff.
That good stuff.
Smells like apple pie.
I'm telling you, it does. That's the peel
Got
part.
a little cinnamon kick to
It
it,
does,
too.
yeah.
That's
Dressing room.
There you go. It's going to take
get you about 10 of
20
those.
of them.
Yeah, get you about 25 of these things and set them around the dressing room, and just make sure you blow out the candle before the night's over with. But yeah, that's from Doris's Flowers and Gifts, 2500 Pillow Drive, and thank you very much too.
They might have just sold something.
Well, I'm telling you, got to go by there. Go by there and tell them I sent you.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
And you won't get the brotherly discount, but you'll still get a great.
As long as they don't charge me double.
Well, no, they won't do that. No. Very, very fair bunch of ladies. Brenda and Doris and Honey and all those folks. And I can't say enough. Doris was the first lady in town that gave my wife and I 6 months same as cash on our flowers for our wedding back in 1975.
Wow.
And I've done business with her since 1975. So
There you go.
love them like family. Heart's Desire. Check it out at your local Doris's Flowers and Gifts.
Shameless
Get some
plug.
today. Oh, well, it's not the home of the shameless plug, but that's okay.
There you go.
Golf tournament coming up Saturday, April 28th. The Fight Like Dylan Golf Tournament, 6th annual. Parker Group at Morgan Stanley are our title sponsors, and I'll let Coach take it from here and tell us all the details.
Well, we're looking forward to another big event this year. 8 years now since Dylan passed away in the state championship game, all in the same day. Dylan's parents have taken the lead on the golf tournament, which benefits Columbia Central football players for athletic scholarship, or not athletic, but scholarships to college. Great program. Always a great fun day out at Stony Brook Golf Course. Tee off at 8 o'clock in the morning. People can contact myself or you or Heather and TJ, Dylan's parents. They're all on the flyers, which are sent out everywhere. Can pick it up at the golf course itself if they'd like to do that. But we're looking for teams to play. We can actually book somebody with if they don't have a complete team, we can match them up with somebody. $100 for a whole sponsorship if somebody's interested in that, and just be a great fun day. It always is. Always have a big turnout. Last year I think we had 30 teams involved, so that's 120 golfers.
And we can have more teams if you have your own golf cart.
Yes, absolutely. And it will be important to turn in those registration forms as early as possible so we can get that lined up and get people's spots reserved, so we don't have to go to that looking for those who have their own carts.
Breakfast we supply.
Breakfast and lunch.
And
both,
lunch, yeah.
Provided. Great fun time. We tee off at 8 o'clock. Probably will finish about 1 o'clock with dinner and drawings, all kind of door prizes involved, and just a great event for the community.
And one of those door prizes is from Heart's Desire. At Doris's Flowers and Gifts.
Excellent.
Home of the shameless plug.
That's right.
And you don't even have to be good either, because they let me play every year, and I'm not any good.
But it's fun. It is fun to watch you guys out there. That's what's you and Davis and usually Fett. And who else do you have? Is Aaron out there with you?
He missed the last 2 years.
Did he? Okay.
AJ McCollum, no, he won't come out there. He plays hockey. He won't play any golf.
Well, he'll play golf like hockey.
Scott Tillman
Scott
and
Tillman
Rick
will go out there.
Sires.
Rick,
Yeah.
See, and whoever gets put on my team, they draw the short straw. And, tell me they have to carry us because I'm not going to use any of my shots.
All right, but here's the deal. Guess who's trying to put the team together? Somebody we've never seen out there before. This guy.
I've been out there.
Have you been out there
Yeah.
before? Have you played that
I
before?
haven't played, but I've been.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been
Okay.
several.
We ain't got to worry about coming in last. Well, I got that.
But I am
secured
putting a
up.
team together. I am putting a team together. You're
Yes.
right.
You gonna do four?
Jason, do you,
Are you
use
gonna do
the
four?
Same
Okay, cool.
excuse I use about a handicap.
You got
The
a
golf
Snedeker
clubs.
guy.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm telling you,
You got a Snedeker
it's not my
guy
fault
named-
ever.
A guy named Snedeker on your team.
Uh-oh. Ringers.
But he's got connections. He might,
I know. That's
he,
what
he,
I'm saying.
he might even give a call and get Vinny and his lovely bride from up around Brentwood area.
Oh,
Well, if I play on that team, we're gonna need some help. So I'd like to just be the caddy guy or just drive.
Well, I'm gonna because it's on a Saturday morning. I'm going to issue an official invitation to Maurice to come out and join us and have a good time.
I may come out and watch.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Just
okay. I
you
may
know, if
come
you don't
out
want
and
to play,
watch,
that's
'cause
fine. We just come
I
out
don't
and have
play
a,
often, and I don't play well.
Well, neither
so,
do I.
yeah.
So they're
But you
What
can't
I
eat.
do is not considered golf.
yeah, it's something. It's kind of like rugby. We don't know exactly what it is, but we know that it's fun to watch.
I like watching people that do it well,
Yeah.
and again, that lets me out.
But that's on April 28th, and shotgun start at 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock. Yep.
All right. So get your registration forms in as early as possible so that we know just exactly how many are coming. But it's always a good time.
It is. It's been a great event. Probably 3 years ago
Mm-hmm.
was we were all out there the morning that Shaq Mason was drafted.
Yeah.
and
Wow. We
that
were.
was a-
Yeah.
That is the weekend
quite
of the
a-
draft, isn't
yeah,
it?
it
Yeah.
is, and that was a great roar as it just kind of moved like the wave around the
Yeah, it
golf
did.
course as people heard the word that Shaq had been drafted. So that's kind of a highlight.
And we,
involved.
we may hear of another local kid getting drafted on that day this time around. Actually, speaking of shameless plugs, we'll have an article in tomorrow's Daily Herald on DeMontre Wade,
Yeah.
Columbia resident who played at Brentwood Academy, played at Murray State, went to the Reese's Senior Bowl back
Yeah,
in
he's
January.
going to the
He's going to the
combine.
combine next week. Cornerback, 9 interceptions last 2 years up at Murray, 31 passes defensed, 6 foot 200. And if you've been in this area for any period of time, you know DeMontre's dad is Orlando Papa Wade, who was Mr. Football up at Spring Hill back in '86.
Two back-to-back years.
He was Mr. Football twice.
He
What was it, 86, wasn't it, somewhere?
knew it was
86 and
86.
87.
Okay, I wasn't aware he won it twice. I knew
Yeah.
they'd had two Mr.
The first 2 years they had Mr. Football, he won it in Class A.
Doesn't he work with you?
Yes, he does.
Okay. There you go.
Can he go pro? You think?
From what I hear, he's going to have a shot. Now, he may be a third-day draft pick. He may be an undrafted free agent, but 6 foot 200 at corner can run. That's-
Orlando was telling me the other day that the projection that they're doing right now is that he might go as high as 4th round.
Okay.
You know, but that could all change with the combine.
No.
You know,
Hopefully, it changes.
for the
Up.
better. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's some buzz about him. Again, if you get invited to the Senior Bowl out of a quote mid-major or an FCS,
Right.
I mean, you've already got something going for you. So hopefully that Saturday that roar will work its way around the course once again.
Well, and there's a shot that somebody else might be drafted also.
A
Now-
former purple and gold guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to the combine, but
He's
had
going to
he
a
had
pro
a nice
day.
had a nice little career down in Florence, huh?
He's going to a pro day in at Sanford.
Is he?
Yeah. And
When is that? Do you know?
It's this week, actually.
It's this
His pro
week.
day is
It's either today or Thursday. Was it? Yes.
The funny thing was when Dre came on last week, Angel, his mom, was very worried that he would not say a word. He talked this hour up.
Yeah,
He was good.
he was good.
It was one of the most viewed programs that we've had since we started this thing.
It's probably amazing how much talking Drake can do when Angel's not around.
That was
on
Maurice Patton.
That was on you, Maurice Patton. That ain't
That's
on
Maurice
me.
Patton there, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just saying.
Now, here's a little tidbit of information for you. Miss Carolyn Janes, pizza chick, taught Angel.
I did not realize until I saw something on Facebook last week that Angel's uncle was Willie White.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then when the babies were born, Carolyn got a hold of all three of them.
Oh, wow.
Yes, she did. She's held all three of those as babies. So
That's awesome.
her 40-year teaching career at McDowell spanned that family. So it's a wonderful thing. So not only was she a great teacher, but she also cooks a mean pizza too.
And I tell you what, Angel makes a heck of a caramel cake, and I hope I hadn't cut mine off with that.
Maybe we can go back and edit that out.
I think she'll be all right.
You hope.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, big news on Facebook today was, what is the Big Ten having their playoffs in New York?
Their tournament this week
Is
in
it
New
this
York.
week?
Yeah, this week. I posted a column by Greg Doyle from the Indianapolis Star, pretty much taking Jim Delaney and the Big Ten to task for, one, having it in New York, but two, having it this week, because next week is I think the Big East tournaments at Madison Square Garden. So if they were going to have it at Madison Square Garden, they had to do it this week. So I wasn't really paying attention because I don't pay a whole lot of attention to Big Ten basketball anyway. But I noticed they played some conference games before Christmas, and that was kind of.
You normally don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that was why, because they had to get their season over in time to start their conference tournament tomorrow in order to get into Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
So yeah, and they're playing it in New York to get to the Rutgers market. Last year they played it in D.C. after for Maryland, and it's all this conference realignment stuff and that kind of thing.
But then
it's
again, what
odd.
sense does it make for the SEC tournament to go to St. Louis? I mean, isn't Missouri as far west?
I don't think it's as bad.
It's
though.
probably just to give Missouri.
Well, Missouri
chance
is
to see
in
the
the
SEC, 'cause
conference. So,
yeah,
It comes back to Nashville like the next 6 years.
But that,
Yeah.
that
So-
actually helps that footprint of Missouri,
Yeah,
Texas A&M,
Arkansas.
conference stepping out there,
right in,
yeah.
right in through there.
But if you're coming from Columbia or Gainesville, I'm not sure you can get there.
you better fly.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
a long ways.
it's not a short trip.
And I think it shows you just how powerful the big TV markets are. It's just
And the TV
an
money.
attraction
Yeah.
and money. Yeah, that's just an attraction that conferences cannot get over. And there's reasons behind it. I mean, the SEC or schools in general are making over $200 million a year.
And
The
you're
biggest
talking about
part
money
of it
that we
is
can't
TV.
even imagine,
Right.
or I can't. No, I don't know, but maybe y'all can.
Look down there on the end.
Yeah,
No.
it's crazy.
Well, let's talk about
I
one
work
more
for
research
Ryder.
here. I'm interested to know who's going down with the NCAA or with the FBI's investigation.
A
lot of nervous coaches
It might be easier to say who's not.
Starting
I
in
think
Arizona.
Tennessee's not.
Yeah,
I think Rick Barnes has got a clean
I
program.
think so. I don't know
The
that.
pass of Bruce Pearl days.
Well, he didn't sound in an interview. He didn't sound like he's very concerned
No.
about it.
I think Bruce Pearl's concerned. Calipari's concerned.
I think Avery Johnson may be a little concerned with Colin Sexton.
Alabama, yeah.
Yeah.
And he played good the other
Michigan
night
State's coach.
against Arkansas.
Oh,
They're concerned.
no.
Who?
What aren't they concerned
They're
about
concerned
these
about everything at
days?
Michigan State.
And
Yeah.
Ole Miss is always in trouble, so just throw them.
Hey, Bruce Pearl saying, "Leave me alone. Y'all already got me out of one job. I wanna keep
This
the
is
one
going
I
to
got."
probably finish him off.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, he's already got an assistant coach who has been indicted and had to leave the program before the season
Well,
started. I mean,
Calipari
it's-
was
it's-
caught cheating
want
the
his resume?
system at his prior job before he went to Kentucky.
At Memphis.
Oh yeah.
And of course they knew what they were getting when they got him. So
I don't think anybody's in as bad a shape right now, though, as Arizona with the wiretap situation with Sean Miller out there. That's not good. That's not good.
No, wiretapping is bad.
Just
as
wonder if there's more to come.
Wiretapping is as bad as having that text show up that they can go back and get from all the records from whatever provider
and once
you
you
have.
once you texted
Or
it,
video.
it's there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the picture text or whatever that got Bruce Pearl attention in
picture.
Tennessee?
Yeah.
picture,
It was a picture from the
Just
barbecue.
kinda,
Barbecue.
At his house that he said that he wasn't at.
Yeah.
And the thing about that whole deal was, if he had said, "Yeah, we had a barbecue. Yeah, we had kids there,"
Yeah, he tried.
they'd have slapped him on the hand and went on. They don't like being lied to.
Nope.
So, you hate to see him lose his job over it, but I think he's in a little bit deeper water this time
I
around.
do too.
Yeah.
I do too. But the SEC's got some good basketball. Tennessee, Mississippi State tonight, close game. Tennessee's got possibly a number 2 seed.
You're coming down the stretch here.
So,
They
they
play.
said they're a solid 3 anyway.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It was funny, being on social media when they dropped 2 of 3 there
Against
about a week and a half ago when they lost
Yeah.
to Georgia,
Yeah.
and
Which they got them at home Saturday.
yeah.
And Rick Barnes pulls all of his players off the next game, and
yeah. But just that sky is falling mentality amongst various members of the UT fan base because they lost 2 of 3 games. I mean,
You
this
mean
team-
99.8%?
something
Do
like
they
that.
know where we were ranked in
Yeah,
the
but
preseason?
Not
I
only
mean,
that, but I mean, just look at the body of work as a whole. I mean, they played some really good basketball this year, and Alabama's not as bad as
they're a good
they
team.
played, and they just happen to have one of those nights. You're not going to win every night in this league.
no, but the UT faithful are going, but it's all we've got.
There is that. That's very much like Vanderbilt fans
Exactly.
trying to get to baseball season.
Yeah.
But Maurice, does the FBI bring everything out during March Madness? What happens? I think they're
Or
going to
do
send
they
a
bring
message.
it out on purpose during March?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
think. To send them, I think they're
Yeah.
going to make a powerful statement.
I don't know what what motivates those guys. I'm still trying to figure out how they're even involved in it. I mean,
Probably
they've been able to get more done than the NCAA has.
the money and the shoe contracts and tied
I
to
think they
taxes
would
and
go ahead and bring it out. I mean, if they're forced Louisville to vacate their 2013 national championship,
yeah.
surely they're not going to want to have to make whoever wins the championship this
This
year
year,
vacate it. So I think they're going to want to take care of this year.
Auburn's the number 1 seed.
Yeah, but
in
do you
SEC,
do you really think that Louisville cares whether or not they vacate the 2013 national championship?
That's like
No,
in
they still
NASCAR.
like his player said, we still got our big rings.
Dan, Dan, that's like in NASCAR. A week after you celebrate in victory lane and they take the win from you. Well, we already
Yeah.
celebrated.
Yeah.
You know,
Our sponsors got all the attention, so
Right.
Yeah,
Girls
you might
already
take
kissed me on the cheek. I've already got the. You're gonna take back. You gonna take back my medal?
all
I
that
don't think
TV
so.
time.
Yeah, we got TV time.
They might get in your pocket though.
Well,
Yeah, they'll get in your
they'll
pocket,
get in your pocket.
speaking about getting in the pocket, what about Goodell is supposed to fine Jerry Jones several $1 million.
Two is what they're
what?
legal fees from his apparently putting up a fight
don't-
about Goodell staying on as commissioner and over the Ezekiel Elliott situation.
But look at what
Ezekiel
Jerry's
Elliott
worth and see if
suspension.
that really bothers him.
it's the principle of the thing. Yeah, yeah.
Shoot, $2 million for Jerry Jones is walking around money right
He's
there.
worth like
But
$3 billion.
I think they're talking more than $2 million.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Two's the that's the
Well,
figure
Jerry
I
don't
heard,
go
but-
down easy.
No, he doesn't.
It will be a fight.
Yeah.
It could get
So-
ugly too. There
could.
will be lawyers.
There are always lawyers.
Always. So what's
anyway.
going on over at your place? You had a couple of guys sign last week.
we
What's
did.
that get you to? 6 now?
We've had six guys this year so far sign college scholarships.
How many seniors did you have?
we had 20 seniors. So hopefully we're not done yet. But last week we had Russell Wagner signed with Tusculum University, and Will Anderson signed with Alderson Broadus University.
Broadus, up in West Virginia.
Yep. So we're excited for those guys.
I never even heard of this.
I never heard of it either. Apparently it's nice. I'm not sure what all is in West Virginia anyways, but
Coal country.
I know.
I had
You're right
heard
about
of it because Spring Hill had a
Barnyard
kid sign a
Builders.
soccer scholarship up there back in the spring, I think. One of their better soccer players, Nathan Jonah, I think.
Okay.
So,
Well, good. At least it'd be a couple local guys going to the same place then.
yeah.
Might-
Yeah, maybe
might
they
cut
can
down some
ride up
traveling
together
expenses.
or something. Yeah, because it's not close.
Yeah. So we had those two guys, and Kenyante Davis signed with UT Martin. So I'm excited for him. Without playing his senior year, still have opportunity to play some Division I football. TJ Bailey is going to Independence Community College in Kansas. Kind of forced into the JUCO just because of grades and stuff. But hopefully he can go there for 2 years, do well, then maybe get an offer to play.
Independence this year was where Netflix did Last Chance U,
I think so,
I
yeah.
believe. They were down at East Mississippi the last couple of years, and I think they were out there this year. So that'll be interesting.
I'm excited that TJ gets a chance to play because he's always said that he was one of the best athletes we had on the field by far. He had a 40-inch vertical jump.
I was at y'all's
Nice.
lift-a-thon last summer,
job.
and some of the numbers that he put up were just, for his size, were just amazing.
It was. I mean, the little short shuttle drill and the L drill, a lot of the stuff that they do at the NFL Combine, he was putting up the same numbers that these guys at the Combine were putting up.
Wow.
So, it was just unbelievable, his athleticism. So I'm glad he's getting a chance to play.
We've got some players like
Yeah.
TJ and those kind of guys that have gone through our program and thinking back, Eddie and I saw a player that really didn't get a lot of recognition when he played, but then after the season was over with, it's like, wow, that kid really made a difference. Was Ian McNeese.
Yeah.
He was a standout, but did not get the standout version of what everybody going, well, that guy's great, he's good, but he was versatile and all around in every detail.
I had a chance to coach him under Coach Blue when I was coaching defensive backs. Coach Binkley, our current cornerback coach, he coached him after I left, and we talk and what's your number one defensive backfield? And Ian McNeese is always up there in the corner position just because he was more athletic than he looked. He's very quick. But he was a very smart ball player,
But he gave you
was
everything.
aggressive, and he did. He made I think the 2012 season, I believe he made an interception, returned it for a touchdown against Powell, or I think it was Powell. And I remember watching that in the stadium that night. I'm like,
He also had an alias. Remember down in Lincoln County?
Oh,
They called him Ion.
Ion McNeese. And I said, I just can't go up there and tell the announcer that's wrong. That is so wrong.
he was a special player, though, that's for sure.
Ian was fast.
He was fast.
Yeah,
fast.
he's fast, and he would hit you. He would hit you.
You had a safety back there this year that, again, wasn't a guy that got talked about a whole lot, but seemed to show up. Bryce
Mangrum,
Yeah.
He'll be a senior next year, so
Yeah.
I was excited about Bryce going into it. We would sit down as a staff and be like, our best defensive back is Bryce Mangrum. It's because he was always in the right spot. He knew what to do. He was always in the right spot. First year as a starter, this year as a junior. I'm excited about him this year. We'll have a handful of starters returning, and he's one of them. But he's one of those guys that glad to get him back because he did a really good job of coming up and being physical at the line of scrimmage, and then being able to drop back in coverage. It's hard to find those type of players that can kind of do.
They can do both.
But he's got a nose for the ball, and he's aggressive, and he's got one speed too. Kind of, it's full speed. So that's good. That's good. So he'll be a guy I think we talk a lot about next year.
I heard a coach say you'd rather have to tell them woe than sick them.
That's right. That's right.
And we've had several over the last few years where you had to tell them whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a good thing though.
Yeah.
Bryce is a great kid too. I really enjoy being around him. He's humble, but he's got some energy about him. He's a joy to be around. Good young man.
You're going to enjoy having D. James back too, aren't
I
you?
will. He's getting back into the workouts now. He's not full strength yet, but he's just got a positive. Can't think of the right word, but he's just a
Aura.
positive. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He does. He does. He's just probably because he's always smiling.
He is
He's
always
always
smiling.
smiling.
I see him at the basketball games and that kind of thing, and he's really pleasant kid. Like you said, always got a smile on his face, like nothing's bothering him, and
Well, I saw him going down the road the other day, and he was really smiling because he was driving Big Brother's Jeep.
I'd be smiling.
And
too.
I haven't seen him yet. I'm gonna look him up.
You have to get on, yeah.
Forget about that.
But he might be playing some inside linebacker this year. He's playing a little bit outside last year, but losing Will and them in the inside of Montana, got to find some guys that can play that middle, and he's got 2 more years of wearing the number 30 before it's in the books for good. So hopefully he can play like the previous middle linebackers that wore number 30. So.
there you go.
But here's the thing: you did not realize what you missed until you watch him step out on a basketball court. Was Kenyante Davis? We missed him. You missed that beef out there on the field when he stepped out on a basketball court, because he was to be reckoned with underneath the boards.
Oh yeah,
Wasn't that tall, but he was that big.
Well, he was. I mean, I took him to Tennessee last summer on a visit, and he kept away on the Johnny Major scale they have there in the locker room or the weight room there. And they're an old pair of scales, and apparently that's Johnny Major's. That's why they call them the Johnny Major scale. And he stepped on there, and he was like 265. I gave him that look like 265, playing defensive end, and so I mean he beefed up a lot from his junior year to senior. So I hated missing him in football this year. He could have been a dominant force for us this year.
But you know what, though, as it turned out, and again, you don't want to downplay a kid who signed with UT Martin, who had the junior year that he had, but you had Bailey and Hall out there, and I mean, you were going to have to either sit one of those guys or move one of those guys if he had played.
Yeah, Jalen really stepped up big for us this year. When Kenyante went down, I pulled him to the side. I said, "All right, man, I need to see what you're made of. I need to see what you're made of." And sure enough, he showed out for us this year. So, but I think back if we had Nante and David, and I've had Jalen, I could have had depth, a lot more depth than what we had, and it would have been even much better. But I can't complain for the year we had, though.
And you got Bailey coming back. Now, he had some surgery, too, didn't he?
He had shoulder surgery. He's I think he'll be fully recovered in about 3 to 4 weeks, so which is good.
Good.
Yep, I know.
By the time spring practice rolls around.
I told him the other day, I said, "Hey, my last defensive end was out an entire year with shoulder surgery. I don't need another one that's going to be out a year or 2.
Well, at least he had it early enough that he can get back.
I know.
Yeah.
Dan, I think we need to recognize the young man from Lawrence County that passed away.
Yes.
Tanner Ray.
Yeah.
Now, were y'all familiar with him from football?
Yes.
Yes. He
Yes.
played quarterback and, what was it, defensive back or linebacker?
I think it was a defensive back.
But
Yeah, we were familiar. We remember that name.
he was an athlete.
He was.
He was an athlete. And, he was in a fraternity
Like those
charity boxing match.
The pike fights or whatever.
Right. And
We had those over at MTSU for years. Had them when I was over there. I think they've had them up at UT forever.
Just happened to collapse in the ring, and, it was nothing that happened as far as the fight. It was just he went into cardiac arrest and just didn't make it. So
thoughts are with the parents and the family and,
Right.
and community, because I mean, that's a call that you're not looking for. I mean, if you're in Lawrenceburg and your kid's in school in Knoxville and you get that.
Right. Right.
Well, Ty, let me ask you about this. This is totally off of sports. How's the family doing in Lawrenceburg that lost their
This
that
is
lost
still
their
tough.
firefighter?
Lawrenceburg's hit hard.
Yeah.
Last several weeks have been tough.
Right.
But Dickey family's hanging in there. They've got a lot of support and a lot of people around them, tight-knit community. Firefighters are still hurting, but hanging tight, hanging together through prayer and faith, and they're back at work trying to protect their city and do what they love to do every day.
Well, I'll say this: you guys are amazing. That it is a true fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you have ladies working, I'm still going to call them fraternity. That you guys stick regardless.
Yeah, everybody came together and took care of Lawrenceburg just like they take care of us, and they needed to focus on taking care of themselves and going through the grieving process, and they went through something we never want to go through in our career, and that's a line of duty death or somebody getting killed on a scene. So I was very proud of fire departments, not just Columbia and Spring Hill, but across the state. I mean, we had Murfreesboro, Franklin, all the way to Chattanooga. I mean, they were
Smyrna.
Mount Juliet. Yeah. All the fire departments throughout the state of Tennessee were calling, asking to help, or doing what they could to help cover Lawrenceburg for about 7 days. So was proud to see everybody come together, and that's the way it is. That's one thing I'm proud about with the fire service here in Tennessee is whether it's under Tennessee mutual aid law or whatever.
But it goes past.
We have the Gatlinburg wildfires,
Right.
to the incident that we had in Lawrenceburg where Jason Dickey lost his life. We're there to support each other and take care of each other.
Is that one of the biggest fears that I mean, you guys go in regardless, and you don't know what the structure is going to be at that time?
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, you got to remember this. I mean, sometimes buildings are supposed to stay intact, or nobody thought the Twin Towers would fall like they did either on 9/11. But it's a dangerous job. I think today's time, firefighters and police officers just have just as much danger when they're out on the highway as when they're responding to a fire call because of traffic and distracted motorists and things like that. But when you have fires, anything can happen. You can have the lost the integrity of the building or the structure, and you think it's sound, and just different things happen. So it's still a dangerous job, and when you've got more lightweight construction and cheaper building materials, buildings can collapse a lot easier when they're under heat and stress. And that's just the dangers you encounter. So, but
hats off to firefighters everywhere for what you guys do every day.
Thank you.
Because I've had a good relationship with the fire department here and in Murfreesboro when I was up there.
Yep.
So
Murfreesboro was there. Their chaplains were there that night, probably a couple hours after I got there, and they've got a great department.
How
up there,
long did
Mark
you
folks.
stay up? You look like you'd been up quite a while.
I didn't sleep for about 48 hours probably. Yeah, it was a long time. I got the phone call about 3 minutes after they declared the Mayday. They were requesting our assistance, and I was in Lawrenceburg probably by about 8:32, and the Mayday come in at 7:57. So,
wow.
I mean, I got there pretty quick. I went straight to the ER. Yeah, you don't want to know how fast I was going, but very justified.
Yeah,
as you know.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
But Columbia and Spring Hill manned the stations that night and answered several calls during the night, and just something
Because
I
you're
hope I
answering-
never had to see again.
You're not
but
answering just fire calls. You're also answering the first responder calls.
yes, medical calls, vehicle accidents.
Right. All right. Boston Butts available through Thursday.
Yep, $35 a piece. Call the school. Miss Norma or Miss Dorothy at the front office. They can give you the information. You can ask for me at the school, and I can get you hooked up as well.
All right. 381-2222 for Columbia Central High School.
When
Guys,
do
you got
when do
anything
they
else?
deliver?
Next Saturday, March 10th, they'll actually in a
You
parking
getting
lot of
one?
the stadium. $35. 8 to 10 pounds of barbecue. I tell you
Good
what.
barbecue.
So the whole thing is they like big butts and they cannot lie.
Oh Lord, stop it! Dan. Who's doing them?
We got a company. I thought it was
It's the
Oh, I
big-
thought maybe it was somebody's dad or
No,
something.
man,
like that.
it's the Big Butt Company. That's exactly what it is.
All right, we bring the professionals in for this.
Bertha Butts Company.
That's
True
it.
Love's. True Love's time.
That's True Love's time. So for everybody on the show, have a good night, everybody.